Good morning. Oh, I woke up on my friend's property today. I slept like a baby and I'm ready to do some prep cooking, and I'm going to do my best at setting up a tripod, putting on the camera, trying to get everything in the shot. I don't know if it's going to have wind noise. I don't know anything about this filming thing, so you got to be patient with me. But I'm going to go for it anyway. So here's my van. Here she is, and she's all set up for cooking mode. Cooking mode. So what I have right here is my morning coffee, which is yummy. I pulled out my table and put up the leg. I put the pillows from the head of the bed, I put them over to the side so I could make room for the boot tray that I carry, because I'm going to fill this up. I'm going to go in my van. I'm going to get all the things I'm going to cook from my fridge, put it on that tray. Things from under the bed that I want to cook. There's under the bed storage. I have all these containers under here that are filled with dishes and food. Right, very handy for me. I got my water when I need the water for the pressure cooking. And I may take out the butane stove depending on what I'm going to cook. And away we go. I'm going to hop in my van right here, and I'm going to get out the things that I want to cook. So I do want to cook these baby carrots, rainbow baby carrots, and I have these bags of broccoli. Definitely cooking those. And I get all my ice packs in here, and I get the other ice packs freezing up. And I'm going to go under my bed here. I'm going to find that acorn squash. I think I'll cook that too. But before I get out, I mean, not that I can't get back in and get things I need, but I like to think all I need to cook this is water, water, water. But I do need containers to put everything in when they're done. I tend to keep my containers right in the empty space in this fridge because it just, why not? So I'm going to put those containers here because I'm going to fill those up, and then I'll cool everything off. I don't cook with oil, so I don't need any oil. I don't cook with salt and pepper. I do that after. And yeah, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll. Oh, that delicious cup of coffee in the morning. So, I need to grab my extension cord. So I have the little extension cord that plugs in from my pressure cooker to my Bluetti. So that's all powered up. And what I'm going to do, and right here, the very first bin is my dishes. So they're nice and handy whether I'm in or out. I need to have everything workable in or out. So that's right here for the ease of that. So I'm going to grab this cutting board and my favorite knife. It would be Dexter Duo Glide. It's a good one. So what I'm going to do here, you know, I have these racks, like you put things on top of it, or you make a basket of broccoli. But I've come to discover after using this, it's not even necessary. You just fill it up, put a little bit of water at the bottom, and it just seems to not worth dirtying these things. So what I'm going to do with my Brussels sprouts is I like to cut the ends off and then cut them in half. That's just me. End off, cut in half. Can you hear the roosters? I'm in the country, baby. I'm in the country. I woke up to the roosters this morning. He's been very talkative. I also woke up to a hear it? I also woke up, I had my door open a crack, my side door open a crack while I was getting my breakfast ready, and the cat that lives at this house hopped in, scared the daylights out of me. wasn't expecting a little creature to hop in with me. So that was interesting. And his name is Squeaks. And he just poked around, had to just check out who was in his yard. And so I was gonna put I put my solar panels out today because it's a bright sunny day. And then my friend's like, why don't you just plug in? I was like, why not? So I'm all plugged in. I'll be able to run this thing endlessly because I'm plugged in. So you know, I didn't really need to plug in because of this bright sunshine. I would have generated tons of electricity today. But I just, you know, when opportunity presents itself, you grab it. You grab it. So I'm all plugged in, and I have this little fan going. So this is a USB fan. It's called Opolar, O-P-O-L-A-R. You charge it up USB. It fits the phone charger. And when that thing's on a full charge, boy, it lasts an awful long time. I have two of them, and I always keep one handy. And so this is the head of my bed. So I always have it pointing towards the head of my bed. So if I get warm in the middle of the night, because my temperatures fluctuate like most older women, and I'll throw that on, even if just for a minute, and then I just turn it off. I just have it hooked right onto the handle of the cooler. Works like a charm. So I'll be able to run this endlessly, and it's also charging up my Bluetti. It will bring that up to 100, and I have the fridge going, making ice. So all systems a go today. You know, sometimes you're just really roughing it and trying to figure it out, and there's something really kind of challenging and fun about that. And then there's something just kind of nice and relaxing and easy about knowing I'm plugged in and I have all the electricity I need. I have, I'm making ice without thinking about it. And you know something? They're both good. They're both good. And another thing is you need to put water in here, like a cup of water, in order for it to work. So if you forget to put water in it, I've had two things happen to me, and I haven't really quite figured out. Why. Sometimes it just, what happens is it still runs, but then when you open it up, it smells like kind of burnt, and then there's like kind of like a burnt jelly at the bottom of the thing from like any kind of moisture that left the veg, and then it just like, there's no water for it to steam in, and it just kind of burns that liquid at the bottom. So I've had that happen. And another thing that I've had happen, which would be preferable if it happened every time, it just turns right off. Like you turn it on and a minute later it turns off. And I'm like, why won't this go? What's going on? Why won't this go? Why does it keep shutting off? Then when I realized I forgot to put the water in, I was like, how does it know? How does it know there's no water? Like, it made no sense to me that that would be the solution. But it was. It was. So I prefer that happened every time. It's just kind of a little reminder. But I didn't enjoy that burn thing. But I haven't figured out. There's a lot of things I haven't figured out yet, especially about filming and camera and technology and editing and transferring from phone to iPad, and you know, but I decided that I'm just gonna go with it. Keep doing it wrong until I make it right. You know, some of you have said, like, you know, you gotta look in the you have to look. You're not making eye contact, and I totally get that. I cannot figure out where to look. If I look at me, it's wrong. If I look at where I think the lens is, it seems to be wrong. If I pick this spot, it's wrong. It's just always wrong, and I don't know. It's just organically, I want to make eye contact with what I see on the screen, which is me, but that's wrong. So I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out eventually, and I've been appreciating the tips that I've been getting, but it's not a priority for me right now to figure that out. I got other things. I got bigger fish to fry. So now my barrel, I keep my barrel in this second one down, the second bin down on the bottom, and that's where I keep my trash, very accessible to the outside and the inside. So here's my bucket of Brussels sprouts. I'm gonna just put it right under the Berkey and just measure about a cup. About a cup is fine. I'm gonna say that's about it. So I'm gonna put this on, close the vent, pressure cook. The sun is glaring on my numbers. I'm gonna put it on 1. So what it will do is it will spend some time getting up to temperature, up to pressure, and once it's up to pressure, it will go beep, and it will time 1 minute, and then in 1 minute it will go beep, 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 and then I can even choose to cook beyond that, but it's holding its pressure. It's just not keeping the pressure, so it's called a natural release. So you can get some cooking time in a natural release too. So I won't need that with these though. These will be done in once it reaches pressure, it will be done in 1 minute, and then they're going in here. They're going in here, and then we'll be ready for the next batch. So I'm going to get this acorn squash ready. So I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to scoop out my insides. Now I want to use this container when it's cooked, so I just put a paper towel in there, and I'll just let the seeds just drop to the paper towel. Then I just pick it up, throw it in the trash. I'll do quarters. When it's in the pressure cooker, I'll have it go in quarters. I cook it in the skin, and then when it's perfectly cooked, the skin just comes right off. Skin comes off like that. So that's going to be my next batch, and this is still building pressure. And while I'm waiting, I'll do some dishes. So I'll clean my mug from this morning. So this is what I do: half rubbing alcohol, half water. It feels clean. It smells good. It's not overpowering because it's watered down. I just spray back and forth, just wipe it down. I just pour out any residue of coffee. I spray the outside and the inside. And then I just go right down the bottom, and I just turn it from the bottom all the way to the top, and then the outside. And then this goes right into my little coffee bin that has all my coffee stuff. And it's all ready for tomorrow. This works for me. This cleaning system works for me. I'll clean everything up in this way. Oh, there was my beep. So it's just now it's going 1 minute. And then I'm going to show you what happens in 1 minute when it gives me the 3 beeps. And then I'm going to let the pressure out. And then they'll be done perfectly. Oh, there it is. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go like this. When the pressure's released, I'll be able to take the cover off, but right now it's not released yet. This is all going in here. Glorious sun. Oh. I love you, Mr. Sunshine. All right, come on now. Oh, it just went down. Oh, yummo. So, let me get my little pot holder. I got a little pot holder. And I'll show you. There we go. Look at that. Delish. So I don't want to pour it all in because there's probably water at the bottom. So I'm just going to scoop out with this slotted spatula. Perfectly cooked. Still nice and bright green. You know, sometimes if you overdo the greens, you can get like kind of like a gray color. Yeah, that's not good. And another thing I like to do, I like to kind of separate this out a little bit so I can see the bottom. And I like to grab a couple of napkins and just stick them down in there. And it just, some of that extra moisture just gets, that pools down at the bottom. So I'm going to put this up here, and that will cool off for a few hours before that's going in the fridge. Now I'm going to put in my acorn squash. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. My cup of water. Cover on. Now this I'm going to cook for 6 minutes. So now the pressure is now going to build. Then it will beep once, and that means my 6 minutes is going to start. And then after the 6 minutes, it will beep 3 times. But that time, I am not going to release it right away. If I needed to release it right away with the Brussels sprouts because I didn't want them to overcook. But this is like a rock. An acorn squash is like a rock. So you cook some of it with the full pressure, and you can also continue cooking with, it's called a natural release. So when I turn this thing and I'm manually releasing it, it just, boom, it's just spurting out, and it's the instant release, and it's the manual release, and it's all the pressure's leaving. But when you do the natural release, it just slowly releases it because it's not building anymore, because after the 6 minutes it kind of stops building. And so there's still some cooking that happens in that period too. And I like doing that because you use less power, because when it's in that state, even though it is still cooking, it's not using any power. So I like that. It's a crapshoot when you end up opening this. So it beeped after the 6 minutes. Now it's been another 6 on slow release. So I'm going to release it now. So it's kind of a crapshoot. Kind of a crapshoot because it depends on so much. It depends on how small I cut the pieces up. It depends on what kind of squash it is. So I just take a guess. And sometimes I'm wrong. And I will open this, stick this knife in that it's nice and soft. If it's not, then I opened it up too early. And then I'll figure it out. So I'm waiting for the pressure to drop so I can open. There we go. Oh, it's like butter. It's like butter. So now I'm going to put these 4 pieces right in here. Get out of here, flies. Who invited you? There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Again, I'm going to throw a napkin down the bottom just to get some of the moisture. Just throw it right in the middle like that. Delish. So now the last thing on the menu is these carrots. So I'm going to take this out. Dump. These are also 1 minute, just like the Brussels sprouts is 1 minute. 1 minute. So I'm going to set it on a minute. It will finish. It will go for 1 minute. It will beep 3 times. And then I'm just blocking the sun so I can see this digital screen. 1. And then those will be deep done. And look at how much veg I have prepared. I have all this, all these Brussels sprouts. I have this wonderful squash, and I'll have all these carrots. I still have that other big squash, that kabocha squash. I haven't cooked that yet, but I will. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I don't want things to be sitting in there if I'm not getting to them and spoiling. So I don't want to, you know, I'm just managing how much I have prepared for myself because I still want to have salads too, which is all the fresh raw things. And so I want to make sure I'm managing it well so that I'm not going to have anything spoil. So that squash, that's the kabocha squash, is better off sitting there uncooked for another few days than for me to cook that now just because I have this out. But I have these, I'll have these 3 things cooked. Now, the other container that I have like this, these are great containers. They're made by Rubbermaid. They're 9-cup containers. They're BPA-free plastic, which is why I got them. And they're just wonderful. They're just wonderful. So now see this? This napkin is soaked. So I'm just gonna put it in the trash. Just put another one in. Just because I don't want everything to be all kind of wettish. Plus, as it's sitting here, the reason I'm even putting this, just a jar on top of here, is because the flies. I don't want the flies landing on it. But I want to have like a little vent so they'll cool off. Same with this. I'm going to put a little cover on there to vent it. I forget what I was saying. Oh, the containers. So they're 9-cup containers by Rubbermaid, and they're BPA free, and they really work well for me. They stack really nice, and the bottom have this ridge that locks into this ridge. So as you stack them, they lock into each other. And also, and I keep, even when they're empty, they do take up space, but you can stack them inside each other. But I just put them in the fridge because there's plenty of, when there's empty space, I just stick them in there. Or up on top of here is a good place for me to stick them too, because they do take up space. And then also I enjoy making a salad or making a meal in it, especially if I'm making a meal ahead of time. Say I'm going to make it like, I'm going to put it together now, but I'm going to eat it in an hour. Then I can put a cover on it, because I typically like this bowl, which I've shared before, this melamine plastic bowl. I enjoy having meals in this, but if I'm making it ahead of time, I want one with a cover so I can cover it just to keep flies. If you were outside, there's bugs and stuff, So I'll be throwing my lunch together with all these goodies and putting together a spectacular lunch. And it will be warm, but when I eat the rest of these over the next couple of days, oh, there was my first beep. That means my minute started for the carrots. So 1 more minute. I'll hear 3 beeps. And I'm not going to slow release like I did with the squash. It needs 1 minute of cooking and no slow release, natural release. It needs manual release. Boom, let it go. But these, I'll just eat these right out of the fridge, cold, or put the meal together like an hour before, and then things get a little room temp. But it really doesn't matter. I like it. I like cooked things cold. I like cooked things hot. It just doesn't seem to matter to me. Oh, there it is. this is almost ready to release. Come on, come on, come on, kids. It's time. And I'm gonna put a little bit in there, put a little bit in here. They can all get mixed up because I mix them up anyway. I like to mix them up anyway. There we go. Oh, perfect. Perfect, perfect. There's my carrots. Those are going to cool off. Now I'm going to start cleaning up. And that involves spray and napkins. So here's some napkins. And I'm going to clean the There you have it. And there you have it. There's Lulu's lunch for today. Steamed Brussels sprouts, rainbow carrots, and acorn squash, some Japanese sweet potato, and some chicken, and olive oil. Delish! The squash is done perfectly. Brussels sprouts, perfect. Carrots, perfect. Delicious lunch in my van. Making it a priority to take care of myself in the ultimate way. This is where it begins. It begins with the fuel that we put into our body. And then we go carry on our day with that fuel. So I just consider my fuel. I consider my fuel, and I choose wisely. Bye for now.